What is up, gamers? Here I have my poor Nintendo DS Lite. This is my own DS Lite. It broke on me. This piece here, it cracked over time, and it eventually just cracked off and fell right off. And as a result, the top screen is kind of starting to glitch a little bit in a weird way. It looks normal, and now you see all these lines. It's higher. This is black. This is not. And now it's black. Black, not black. Black, not black. So I'm really hoping that once I get this back in here, once it'll stay in this position, I mean, you can even see on this screen. Looks pretty awful. I'm not okay with that for my DS. I don't think anyone would be. So hopefully once I get this piece fixed, it will stay as it should be, and then it'll only glitch out like that when it's like this. See how bad that looks? Really hoping that I can get that fixed. So first and foremost, we gotta take this apart. So the piece that failed right here is the centerpiece. We see it totally broke off. The screws are still in there. It totally broke off. So I have a replacement right here. It's in the same exact condition, and there's no cracking along the top here. Sometimes it will crack along the top, but there are no cracks, so this should stay good for a little while at least. Nintendo actually revised this piece, so there are two versions of this piece and of hinge covers. This is the stronger version of this piece. You see there's ridges cut out, unlike this one where it's all flat. So this one is the newer and revised piece. This one rarely fails. These pieces always fail, so I'll likely have to repair this in the future again, but I want to use my hinge cover because there are two different types of hinge covers as well that has to get screwed into here. One is flat on the bottom, and one has these indents to match this plate. I'm gonna go back with this one, the original one that was on the DS. So let's get this guy repaired. First and foremost, let's get these rubber pads out of here. I added new adhesive on the bottom of them so they are sticky. All right, now let's get this battery door up. Okay, and the battery. And now we have 4 Phillips screws. And now I have 4 Y screws, one here, one here, one here, and then one up there. All right, so now I can hold the shoulder buttons in, pry my fingernails up here, and then pry around the whole thing and lift up. This is my favorite part of this DS personally, but it all has to come out. Oh, fantastic. That piece literally just broke. Yeah, so what happened here, I went to take that off, and the wire just completely poked out. I probably broke it when I was trying to assemble it before and was just like, oh, heck with that. Didn't want to deal with it at that time. But now I will, I guess. Disconnect the top screen that's glitching out, and I'm going to disconnect the bottom LCD because I'm going to modify this motherboard here. Okay, so now this bottom plate here, there's no screws holding it in, so it's ready to just come out. I want to be really gentle with this top screen cable. Do not want it to get any worse. That would be very sad. So now this plate here, I'm going to set off to the side with the buttons in it still. It'll save me some time for reassembly. So now I need to get into the top plate here. So I'll take off my Arceus top plate. Now I can stab these 4 pieces. Again, I'm only doing this because I just broke that antenna cable. Otherwise, we already would have disassembled the console enough to the point where we needed it to be to replace that bottom plate. But I done messed up. It happens. So let's get that out of there. Now there's 4 Phillips screws. Okay. Now we can just slide this that way and lift that up. So I'm gonna just take this out. It'll slide right out, and now I'll add a new one. Hey, buddy. Put it right in there. Route the cable properly. I'm going to take the speaker out so that I can route the speaker properly as well. Put that top screen down in. Get that speaker in its place. Now we can get this speaker in its place again. Just like that. Now we get these wires in their places, just like that. And now we can slide this right back on. Now we can get this piece back where it belongs. So now we'll get those 4 screws in after we get this addressed. So now this is ready to be installed on our new plate. Let's get the mic cable through there, and now our new antenna cable through there. Now I like to set it like this. And slide that top screen right through that slit, and then pull it a little bit And that should drop on it just like that. So now we need our hinge cover. This piece right here is very sharp, and we can actually see where it was cracking before. There's one crack right there, and then the other crack was right there where it broke. So we can get these screws out of here. You failed me, little buddy. All right, so now we can get our hinge cover on. Good. Now let's get these screws in. Do not go too tight. Just enough is just enough. These screws over-tighten way too easily, and it will bend the whole piece, and it will make the hinge all wonky. But that is perfect as it is. So now we can transfer these buttons. So what I like to do, I like to put my fingers here to hold it in place. I flip it around, and then I kind of push them out with my thumb. I like to keep them as straight as I can, and then just put them in here. A, B, X, Y. That's 4 buttons in one. So now I can just put that back there. And the D-pad. And then start and select. So for start and select, I'm actually going to upgrade this. This is the old Nintendo rubber piece. Oopsies. But I want to upgrade it with extreme rates button pad. This clear button pad here, it's super clicky. It makes them click super nice, but only this one. I don't recommend extreme rates ABXY or D-pad ones. Nintendos are perfectly fine. Extreme rates can feel a little mushy, but their start and select pad, mucho bueno, if that's even a word. Muy bien. I don't know, dude. Now we can get our microphone cable in its tracks where it belongs. I like to pry it up there so it's easier. So now our motherboard is ready to be installed, but as I said earlier, I want to upgrade it a little bit. So currently on the board, I have a blue LED where the green one originally was, and then this is going to flash a little bit, but this is orange. I put the orange LED there, and then I put the normal green LED right there. So when I charge it, it's the normal green, and then when it's low battery, it's the orange that used to be the charging LED. But I'm going to swap them around again. I'm going to make the low power LED purple, and I'm going to make the charging LED a better green. As weird as that sounds, it's going to be just a literal upgraded green. You'll see. It's so much better than the green that was on these DS Lites. Let's get my my soldering doohickey here. So first, I will swap the low power LED for this purple LED here. There's a green nub pointing this way, so that's where it needs to face, so it matches the direction of the current. So I'll put that on my pad, and I will flip it the proper way. We can see by this diode right here, that diode symbol, it's pointing this way, so that's the direction that we want the green nub to be pointing in, or the green side of it. So that's all good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat this up with my solder station, and then I'm going to heat this up as well at the same time and remove them both at the same time. I heat it onto the max, which is 480 Celsius. It's a lot, but gets it done quick. There's that. And we can see this green one is just absolutely fried. I mean, look how dark that is. It's insanely dark. So now let's get the purple one on. We'll heat up the solder. Place this down. Now we get our green LED, and for this, I'm going to move the board so it's easier. We'll heat up that solder and drop this right in place. We got our LEDs in, they're working fantastic, and now we can get our DS back and our motherboard. Let's get this plugged in, bottom screen. Close the flap. Now we can get our digitizer plugged in. And close the flap. Now let's get our not entirely working top screen plugged in. All right, make sure the bottom screen gets in place. Can plug our microphone cable in. Okay, so now let's get these 2 motherboard screws back in place. Get our fancy 69er. Slap that in place. Now I'm going to see if the top screen's working properly. Not really. That's a mega big shame. Alright, I'm going to see if I have a tighter hinge cover, because this one has the slightest bit of play, and it seems like that play is what's causing our top screen to be glitchy. Has the slightest bit of play. I need to find one that doesn't have any play. Alright, here's a good one. It's a little yellow though. Yeah, I think we're just at a loss here. I don't care if it does that, like, in any other angle than the main viewing angle. But it kind of looks like it's, Let's load up our game so we can see against the black screen, or just against the screens that it's easy to see against. See right there it's doing it, and now it's not, like, it's kind of on and off on its own. It's always there in that position, but in this one, it's kind of on and off. But like, I'm just going to be playing it. You're not going to be holding it 100% still, you know, like you're going to be moving it a little bit, and I'm barely even touching it, and it's still going in and out. So it does look like I just need a new top screen. There's one thing I'm going to try to do, one last resort thing. It involves some glue of the super kind. Okay, so what I'm going to do, unscrew our hinge cover. So you see this little bit of play it has. I'm going to glue it in that position as best as I possibly can. I'm going to hold it as tight as I possibly can until this glue will hopefully set.
Later.
Okay. And we'll just leave it like this to dry for a whole day, so we will be back in a day from now. Alrighty gamers, it is like 2 hours later. I grew very impatient. I put it under a fan, and I'm hoping that it'll stick. So now I just put it in here. This was the position that it was in when I took it apart, so I put it in the same way. And now I gotta get these 2 screws in. Gonna do my best to hold it tight while I put the screws in. Now, moment of truth. Very slowly, I'm gonna try to close it. Do not want the super glue to break free. Man, this is rigid. Well, as long as the super glue holds, it should work like new again. Look how hard that is to turn because of that glue in there. So I'm going to move it back and forth a few times to kind of loosen the glue. There goes our buttons. Try to loosen the glue. Just like this, kind of move it back and forth. Alright, that should be good. So let's get these buttons back in place and get it all screwed in, and we will see how it works. Alright, moment of truth. We'll need to see. I'm in the hinge. It feels really nice. So we can see when it glitches in and out again. I mean, it's just the same thing as before. However, since I glued the hinge, it's making the top screen more forward than it is back now. But we can still see it's still glitching out all the same. Oh man, dude, start and select feel amazing now. It seems like it's better than what it was initially. So, I mean, gluing the hinge, as I suspected, it did do a little. And we can see when I push it back is when it glitches out and gets brighter. But if I just leave it like this, I mean, it's better than before. That's a fact. I mean, the hinge feels nicer than before. That's also a fact. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll live with it like this for a month or two until I can find a good top screen. Then I'll make another video on this DS. But as far as the LEDs are concerned, we can see the blue one. It's still blue. I made it blue a while ago. But now check out the upgraded green charging LED. Look how bright and how actual green it is. Now that, in comparison to this is more of a yellow-green, and this is more of an actual green. Let me try to lower the exposure so it sees it better. Hopefully you can kind of see now. Green, other green. This is just so much better. And then the low-power LED, since it's still on blue or green, I'm going to have to put a low battery in. So let's take this out for a second, put this in, and check out the low-power LED now. It's purple. And it's dead. Kind of looks pink on camera, but it's definitely purple. It looks very purple in person. So that's pretty dang cool. If you guys would like a custom LED, I'll leave a link in the description. I can mod it for you for just 15 bucks. Alrighty gamers, it is a couple of days later, and I'm just giving you an update as the screen. It's honestly totally fine. It really doesn't glitch out all that much. If I push it back, like if I deliberately push it back, then it'll glitch out, of course. But if I just keep it in this position, it's totally fine for playing. I still will make an updated video in the future, but at least I can play Pokemon Heart Gold and try my best at getting a 100 streak.
Nice.
Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.